Right there.
So tell me where we got to yesterday, what we did yesterday, what we achieved yesterday, and what was the task today, and have you done the task? Paul, share your
Yeah.
screen.
Yeah.
Let me actually stop my video because I don't look that nice.
Window testing. Trying.
Today we're going to start something. I'm going to introduce you to something. Well, there's a question that someone asked me on the side. It was about SSH and different ways of SSHing and stuff.
And you see my screen.
Yes, let me explain this quickly. So,
Okay.
what we are doing here is only introducing you to things. Okay, so you know the saying, there's so many ways of killing a cat or skinning a cat. Yeah, what I'm teaching you is that you can skin a cat. Sometimes you don't even know that a cat can be skinned. All I'm teaching you is, oh, you can skin a cat. Normally, I'll find one of the ways that you can skin the cat. But as the saying goes, there are so many other ways to skin a cat. I don't know if it's kill a cat or skin a cat. I don't know the saying. My point saying is that what I'm teaching you here today is introducing you to one example, SSH keys, how to create a key pair, the fact that a key pair has a public key, and you where to put the public key and how to do it. In that process, I taught you how to create an SSH key my way. Okay. My purpose here is to introduce you to SSH key, this concept of SSH key, the key pair, the private key, the public key, and the uses of it. Okay. And why you need it, why you don't need it, and all that. There are so many other ways of going about creating SSH key, adding SSH key, and stuff. So many other ways. Every company has their own way that they will do it. Sometimes they will tell you that this is how we do it, and that's it. Do it that way because of maybe a security or whatever. But there are so many other ways. Okay. Creating a user, if as you find out that there are so many other ways to create a user for Linux. All I'm introducing you to is that in Linux, you can create multiple users. There's so many other ways you can do a lot of things. So many other ways. What you shouldn't do is go and confuse yourself. We are not doing AWS. We are not doing AWS. We haven't started doing AWS at all. I'm only using AWS because we don't want to use our own laptops. Some people are using Windows laptops. Some people are using Mac laptops. Some people are using Linux laptops. For uniformity, that's why I said, let's go and create an EC2. In a nutshell, we could have done everything we've done now if we all had a Ubuntu machine like I had without even going to AWS at all. Whatever I'm teaching you today has nothing whatsoever to do with AWS. We could have gone to Google Cloud to buy an EC2, Ubuntu EC2. Could have gone to Azure to buy a Ubuntu EC2. All I need is a Ubuntu EC2 to teach you Ubuntu. Linux is what I'm teaching you, not AWS. So the way I've created AWS is not the way we do it. I just did it just to get the machine for free so that we are learning Linux. We're not learning AWS, we are learning Linux. Okay, so if you go to Google and then you go and search how to create do SSH in EC2 AWS, you are learning AWS. There are so many other ways that you can connect to an EC2 in AWS, but that's not the point. My point is, if you go to a company and they have a server sitting in Kim Sophie, the server sitting in Azure, so the server sitting in, as long as it's Ubuntu machine, as a DevOps engineer, you have to be able to manage these people, these things. Whether it's in the office, the machine is in the office, whether machine is sitting in AWS, whether the machine has been given to you as an IT personnel. Some people can just bring their laptop and say, hey, it's not working. It's a Ubuntu machine. In our company, the IT support is able to set up people's laptop, creating a user for Ubuntu user, creating a Mac user, creating a Windows user. When we buy laptops, personal laptops for people, it's going to be exactly the same thing that you do. Yeah. So I need people to emphasize, to understand that we are not learning AWS. We just needed an EC2 from AWS. What we're doing is Linux. So far, all that I've taught you is Git, Linux. That is it. Nothing else. Today, we might start with scripting. Got nothing to do with AWS. Okay. So bear in mind, I'm not teaching you AWS yet. If you look at the document that I shared, the picture in the picture of the path in WhatsApp, you realize that at the top, there's nothing to do with AWS there. We are learning Linux, Git. We're going to do some databases, networking. The fact that I've gone to AWS to go and buy a Linux server there, quick Linux server, it's just introducing you to cloud a little bit, but we're not doing AWS. Yeah? Right. Okay. Go ahead. What was the purpose of the task, Paul?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I think the task of yesterday was to create a user for everyone here, to which I have created, and then was also to create a new key, but also to create a new EC2 machine with like the same one we created yesterday, but we add a word new to it to make sure it is not the other one we used. So after creating that one, the new EC2, we just SSH into it, to which I did here, and create a user for everyone. And then we're expecting everyone today to share keys, the public keys, so that among the user I've created, like you see here, yesterday Bernard shared one. I've gone on and go to Bernard's account that I created, create a folder, SSH folder in it, create the key, the authorized key, and I've added the key that I shared on WhatsApp yesterday. I've done this to several users. I'm waiting now for the key from Abdallah and the one from Chris and Anthony. So I think to be specific, it was to create a new EC2, SSH into this new EC2, and create users. I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. So the purpose of the task is to make sure that we learn, first of all, how to create users, and the fact that we want everybody to be able to access everybody's user machine. Okay, so you yourself, you have a user and you'll be able to connect to other people's machines. Okay, that's the task. I think I don't want to waste too much time continuing with the task. As long as you can show me that you have been able to create the users like this for now. And if you go to Alphonse's user, can you log in into Alphonse? And let me see his authorized key. I think you can't log in into Alphonse. Oh, you've been able to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Well done. You set the password for the Paul user?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good. Okay. So in Alphonse, you can list authorized keys. Just one dot, yeah. And cut. Let me see.
Oh, cut.
So you have put Alphonse's key in there.
Yeah.
So Alphonse can use his private key to then connect to your machine, isn't it?
Yes.
So
You can.
the idea is to teach you SSH. That's all. SSH is a way to connect to a remote machine, and you will be doing this a lot. Okay. From your laptop, I connect to my remote machines from my laptop. I've set up my SSH client, I set up my SSH keys, and my public key has been added to a lot of machines that I have access to. Okay, as an admin, a systems admin, when someone joins, you'll have to give them access to the machines. And this is some of the ways you can go ahead and do that. Okay. You can
Yeah.
create a user for that person and give them access through that. Or you can do the lazy way, one user, add the keys to it like we did yesterday, and that everybody will log in as that same user. That's a lazy, unsecured way. But at least I want you to understand SSH. And as you joined, I was showing someone about how to man SSH and learning more about SSH. There's more to SSH than what we've done. But if you know this, you are okay. But you can do more. Now, this takes us to the next point, okay, where when you were creating the users, you were literally creating one command, one command, one command, one command, one command, one command. If you have 200 users, it's not going to work. Okay, so this is where scripting comes in and something like configuration management tools. Okay, we are not going to do configuration management because there are tools that you can actually plug all your EC2 machines to it, and it will manage the EC2 machines, all of it for you at the same time. So if I want to create a Alphonse user in 200 machines, if our phones have access to 200 machines, there's a way I can do it. Not to go into each machine to go and create a Alphonse user. We'll have a tool. Some of the tools are Ansible, Chef, Puppet. They are configuration management tools that will manage a fleet of instances together. So if I want our phone's user to be on only 10, I can do that. If I want our phone's user to be on only 3, I can do that. All of them, I can do that. I can create groups, I can do all sorts and manage. And that's configuration management. If I remove from Chef or Puppet, if I remove our phone's user, it will connect to all the machines and remove our phones from all the machines. Okay. And these are some of the DevOps tools when you want to scale, when you want to actually do this in scale. But even that, if you want to just create the user in one machine, just one machine, and you want to create 10 users, 20 users, just one machine, maybe you can't go and install Puppet or for one machine, start using tools that are expensive. You need to be able to do it all by yourself. Let's say you have an automation that creates an EC2 every time you need it. Okay, EC2 will come. But when the EC2 comes up, you want, by the time it comes up, you want to already have all the users in it already. And there's a script. And that's where we go scripting. So it's not programming, but it's programming. Okay. So I'm going to introduce you to scripting. Okay. Now, I'll share my screen. I haven't logged in yet, unfortunately. So anybody have any questions so far about what we've done? Any question? Remember, no question is a stupid question. Looks like your session time was stopped. Yeah, and so what? So open a new one. Any question?
No, not from me.
Am I that good? Everybody understands what we've done. So nice. Really, really good. So far, you know Git, you know Linux. In Linux, you know user management, and you know something about creating a program. You did a little bit of Nginx, but I'm going through it one by one. This will make sense later when we actually use this scripting to deploy the simple application that we have whenever we spin up an EC2 instance. That's where we want to get to. Okay. So instead of actually going to the machine and going to deploy the application, we will script it. Okay. We will script it. So there will be a lot of things that we'll be scripting going forward. So I need to introduce you to scripting. Okay. Right. Can you see my screen? I hope I don't have that screen problem.
Yeah, I can see.
I can see.
Okay. So I'm going to my AWS account and we are going to generate the script, but we're going to use it. We're going to use the Cloud9. Okay. Just Cloud9. You can now delete all your EC2 instances. But as I said, I need you to practice these things over and over and over and over and over. And also watch a couple of videos, try different ways of doing things. It only helps you. Okay. It only helps you. But remember, in Linux, we've introduced you to SSH. We've introduced you to users. We've introduced you to Git. Okay. So far. Okay. And that's the document here that we are going to. Okay. So now I'm not going to use Python and Go for now. I'm just going to try and see if I can just introduce you somehow to scripting. The good thing is AI is doing all the scripting for us nowadays. So you just tell it exactly what you want to do and it will give you a script. So it's good. All right. My machine is taking a while. Okay, so this is where we stopped yesterday. I'm not going to SSH into the machine. I mean, we are doing everything from Cloud9, yeah? In Cloud9, if I list, cut all the password, the users, etc password, there are MySQL password and Ubuntu. There's EC2 Connect instance there as well. There's a number of users. Okay. We will probably break this machine, but that's the good thing about Cloud9. We can create more of Cloud9s. Okay. So in Cloud9, we have our folders. We're going to create, and you can follow along. If I'm going too fast, tell me.
Okay, can you please zoom in a bit?
Yes.
Thank you.
Settings. User settings, or project settings, terminal. Oh, I'm doing 20. Okay, 20 is enough, yeah?
Yes.
And let me see if I can also zoom in here. Yeah. So follow along in Cloud9. Okay. First thing is I'll create a new folder, call it mkdir your name underscore user underscore scripts. Yeah. And as you can see, as soon as you create any folder, you see it here in Cloud9. This is not the normal Linux environment. Cloud9 gives you this option. It's different. Okay, it's completely different. If you go to Linux, you will not get this user interface, normal Linux instance, as you have seen. So we've got this, and we're going to create a file. Okay. Now, every command that we've run, like one command is echo. Okay, echo command. Echo will just echo. I think I spoke about it. Echo will just echo whatever I tell it. Like echo. When you go to a tunnel and you echo, you hear yourself echo. You say hey, and they say hey, 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 echo. So I want to say hey, and echo will echo hey for me, isn't it? If I want to list everything in this folder, I get it. This is the list of things. If I want to know my directory, this is the list of things, my current directory. Yeah. If I want to change into another folder, I can do that. Okay. What if we can do all of this at a go? Okay. So if we can just run one command or one script that will echo hey, list whatever I have here, and also do pwd. So we can create a file called testing. Yeah, testing.sh. Now you don't need the extension. You don't need the extension, but it's good practice to put an extension to tell people that this is a shell script. Okay, so sh means a shell script, and you can learn about extensions. TXT is a text file. Who knows the extension for that thing? I don't want to mention the name. Okay, it's a PDF. Okay, there's an extension for a PDF file. There's a doc. Is a Word document file, and so on and so forth. So there's an extension. If you put .py, it says that it's a Python file. Yeah, .py Python .sh is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a shell script, and here sh means shell. Okay, a shell script. So I will touch in this folder the folder I created / that. The reason I'm putting the folder in front, I hope you all know, is because I'm not there. I'm in somewhere else. So I don't want it to be in the environment folder. I want this file to be in this folder instead. There are two ways of doing it: putting where you want it to be in front or going there. So I just create it, and as you can see, the file is now here, created here under the folder we created. Okay. One thing is, this file, when I list everything about this file, see that no cd upon, let me go into that and then list there. Let me clear cd ls. I'm here already. ls -alt. You see that this file here, it's just any old file, and these are the permissions of the file. Yeah, you can read, you can write, you can read. Ubuntu can read and write, and so on and so forth. You can learn about this thing. There's a thingy that Linux permissions, file permissions. Yeah, you can learn about it. There's a thing called I saw a program recently that was able to tell you what anyway, this is it. So I will not go into this. What all of these means, you can go and learn it. Command line, file, and directory permissions. What the first one means, what the second one means, what the next one means, all of that. Okay. One of them, which we're going to do, is X. X, the X one here, X. Okay, X means that the file is executable. Executable. We need to make this file an executable file. In Windows, you normally want to install something, they give you one file. You download the file and you click it, and it opens the installation pane, whatever, drop. That file is executable. You can execute it as a program. That's what we're going to do. So you need to change this file to make it an executable file, okay? And the command to do that in the program we need is chmod, change mod. Now, we have used this before, where we used it to change the mod, the permissions of the SSH file. Remember? Okay, so you can actually man chmod, and it will tell you what it's all about. Change file mode bytes. Okay, the manual, whatever, and this is what it's all about. It has flags. It has flags, which is these minus C minus F. You want to do it in different way. Okay, one of the flags we're going to use today to change the file, the mode of the file, I'm going to quit this, is chmod plus an X, X-ray, plus an X. Chmod plus an X.
I think we've lost your screen.
Sorry?
Your screen is stuck.
We're still on man page.
Okay, okay. Are you still on man? Has it changed?
Yes, we're still on the man page now.
Oh, don't tell me this. I was having a very nice flow. Share again then. How about now?
It's white on my side.
Seems like I've shared and something there. Not yet coming.
Why is Teams doing that? I'm going to change. We should change it. Anyway, let me come back again.
Yeah, okay.
How about now?
Yeah, we can see your screen when you're about to select the environment.
The good thing about Cloud9 is when I get there, it will still be there, which is good. It actually says, it will tell you that, yeah, we're getting you back to right where you stopped. The time for it to stop is 30 minutes. So after 30 minutes, if I didn't join back, it will stop. Anyway, can you see my screen now? What can you see?
Chmod plus X.
Okay, so we did the man chmod, but the command to then change the file to an executable file is chmod plus X and the file name. Yeah, this is it. There's a lot more chmod can do, but yesterday we used it to change permission of a file so that we can use SSH, and today we're using it to change a file to an executable file. Okay, and if I enter, it's done its thing. If I run the list again, you see that X is here. It's got X there. Before it didn't have X. Okay, now it has X as well, and there's X executable. Okay, so now that it's an executable file, if I go in and now if I run any Linux command, it should work. So echo, yeah, hey, and then save it. Okay, Control S, echo hey, you save it. You come here, and if you run the file, it should work. Now, to run an executable file in Linux, please pay attention. To run an executable file in Linux, you always have to put // in front of the file name, okay? Telling Linux that you want to run the file, okay? And then the file name, this, meaning that we are going to run what is in the file, okay? When you enter, it will then go and run all the commands. It will only give you the output of what was in the command. It's the same way we did it at the top here. We just did echo, but this time around we have put echo into a file and we run it. Okay, so I can go back to and then the next one I wanted to do is to print the current working directory for me. You have to always save it and you run the command again, the file again. It does both. It does the hey, and then after that it tells you the PWD. What else did we do? We also told it to do ls for us. Okay, so we can actually do that as well and say, okay, after that, list what is in the folder for me. You need to always save the file when you add more commands, and you run it again. It will do all three. Okay, it says that, hey, your working directory is this, and these are the things in the file. Okay, so this is a script that will do things for you. Okay, but obviously there's more. I just want you to understand that you can turn a file to a script that will then go in and do things that you specify in the file for you. Do everybody understand this? Raise your hand if you understand completely what is going on. Anthony, you don't understand? Abdullah, you don't understand?
I understand.
Oh, raise your hand.
Okay.
The raising hand does a lot of things. It makes me know that you are still with us, or you are in the shower. You're just jumping.
But can I see what's in the script? The user script file. Yes.
Yeah, this is it. It's just three commands. First one is echo. Where is it? Yeah. Let me see if I can increase the font again. Yeah. First one is echo. Second one is pwd. These are commands that we know already.
The last, okay.
The last one is ls. Actually, I can do ls minus alt as well and save it. Yeah. When I run, it will run the ls that I want. Let me clear. And then I run the command, it will do it. It actually ran the ls minus alt for me. Okay. All right. You can put your hand down now. Right. Now, I'm also going to introduce you to something called variables. Variables. Okay. Scripting, you will need information to give to the script. And one thing you need to know is a variable. Okay. A variable is, take it as a box that you put information in so that you can use later. Okay. So you create a variable and then whatever you put in can be used later. Example, I'm going to create a variable called ben underscore var. You can name it anything. And what I'm naming is, I want you to put something in this variable, which is a text. Before, actually, I needed to teach you, don't worry, which is a text. I'm going to put my name. Okay. Now, this here, I can also run it directly in the command line. Okay. So if I run this, what will happen is it will just do nothing. It will do nothing. What you've told it is create a variable called benvar. Paul, put your hand down. Alphonse, put your hand down. Create a variable called benvar and put my name in it. So basically, I created it. Linux has gone and created a box. The name of the box is benvar. If you open a box, you see my name in it. If you open the box, you see my name in it. So now, as we speak, the box still exists and it has my name in it. This box exists and it has my name in it. Okay, that's it. It's in the back end of the Linux. Linux just knows that, oh, you said I should create a box and put your name in it. I've done that. Now I want to use that. So what I can do is, okay, I want to echo what is in the box. Tell me what is in the box. Okay, and I can say echo. And instead of typing Bernard, I can actually put the name of the variable. Okay, and how to refer a variable is you put, I think it's $1. I think it's $1. Benvar, yeah, $ benvar. So you're saying that if normally when you echo, what did you do? You just put whatever you want to echo, and echo will echo it. But this time around, I'm saying echo what is in the variable, okay? And it will just go and echo that. Say, okay, I went in the variable, I opened the variable, and this is what is in it. So echo has gone and echoed the variable. What it means is that variables are places that you can put information for use later. You can do a lot of variables. I can actually run a command and put the output in a variable. So I can say that I want, yesterday we did something about the IP address of this machine, okay? I can get the IP address of this machine and put it in a variable. That's all I'm doing. So where's that command again? The IP address command. Who knows it? Did okay, I think I have it here.
I'm pasting it into the chat now.
Yeah, cool. So you can say, oh, I want the IP address of this machine. And this is a command that we found out yesterday to find the IP address of a machine, the public IP address. Okay, you run it, it gives you this. Yeah, we can put this in an echo. How do you do that? That means you have to run the command again, and after running the command, the information that the command brings out needs to be in a variable. Okay, so what you do is you create a variable and say, you always have to create a variable first, the name of the variable, public IP. That's the name of the variable. And it's equal to, now, because now we are going to run a command, whatever the output of the command will be put here. So what Linux tells us is you put $, open and close curly brackets, and then put the command in there. So if you have a sub command, so basically you're saying run this command first, put the output in the variable for me. Okay. You could also not do that. You could also actually do, there's so many ways, as I said, to do this. But the idea is we want to run, if you leave it like this, it will not run the command. It will just put the text, which is the dig command, into the variable. That's why you need to tell it that I want you to run the command. So you could also use this here, which is a, I don't know how to call this thing, but I'm not sure if everybody can see it on their laptop. So when you put it in this, it's not inverted commas, it's not comma, it's a tick. That small little tick, you have to find it. These things is amazing, but these are the things you need to learn in scripting. So we are saying that run this command, run it, and then the output, put it in a variable. So when we run it, it said, well, IP not found. Command not found. Okay, it didn't think that this was a variable. So this is where I go and search a Google. Okay, bash. This is a bash script. Bash put the output of a command to a variable. Yeah. Okay. And it will tell me, well, it says, look, I don't know why. It does say what the two things I've just spoken about. So you can use this or that. I think it still has to be in inverted commas. There are two ways, okay? I don't want to watch a video, okay? So the first one is this. Create a variable is equal to $, and then that. This one I did. And the next one was create a variable. Yeah, let's just use that. There are, so as I said, there are so many ways to do this, but at least I know that one works. So it's equal to $, and then the command goes into this one. He's trying to get the date, the current date, and he wants to put it into the thing. Okay. Someone will say, "Hey, Charlie, this thing is going to be big." So let's do that one. So I'll just put into that. And then we put $, in front, isn't it? Yeah. But sometimes it's either the equal to, there's a space there or there's no space there. They all count. Okay. But this is how you script, and then you run it. Now, it didn't give us any error. That means that this command has been run and the output has gone here. So when we want to see what is in the variable, we echo it. Okay. We can echo it. You can echo the variable. So all you have to do to also use a variable, you put $, in front of it in bash, and then you call the name of the thing. Okay. So, and it says, oh, the IP address is this, because the information has been put there. So what we can do then is we go here, copy this and put it in a script. We created var Bernard. Yeah. Var Bernard, we don't want to run any command. We just want to put Bernard in it. Okay. And so you just put it in inverted commas and then Bernard is there. Now we want to find this. So now we're running a command and we're putting the value of the command in here. I will add 2 to it because I don't want it to conflict with the variable that I created here that I was using to play around along. Okay. I just created a new variable. Okay. I can actually put 2 here as well so that I'm sure that I'm actually looking at this. Okay. Now I can then use echo, and echo is amazingly nice. Yeah. I can then say echo, yeah, and I can start with this. Okay, I can say echo, hey, yeah, and then I will say, hey, what? Hey, whatever is in this, it will say, hey, Bernard, yeah, copy. I want whatever is in this. Hey, Bernard. So it will take my name, put it in a variable, and echo will echo it, but it will put hey first. Hey, Bernard, this is your public IP. And then I'll go and take this.
Obo,
Yeah.
I think your font is small.
1 minute. Well, let me.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me increase it then. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. So in this script, I just want to say hey, or I can say, hey, good morning. I can actually put the variables at the top. Let me comment. I will also teach you one thing. Comment. If you don't want to run the command, you just hashtag in bash. I don't want to run this command anymore. So it's either you delete it or you hashtag it. It will comment it out. When it's running, it will not run those two. Okay. And I'll probably also do that. And then I save. So what I'm doing is I created a variable that takes my name and it's going to go and find the public IP of the machine, which we know the command. This is the command. It will run this command, get the output, and put it in a variable. Yeah. And then when we finish, we'll then say, tell us, hey, whoever the person was, this is your public IP, and also what the public IP is. Okay. And then you save this file and you run it. Yeah. So let me clear. And if I run the file, which is this, yeah, it will do the things that I've put in the file, hopefully, and voila. So it ran everything and it says, hey, Bernard, because the name was Bernard, this is your public IP. Voila. You're writing a program. Okay. So I don't want us to rush too much. There's a lot to scripting. And here we've done this, we've done that, we've done that. Okay. Who has been able to do this so far, and who think they can use these names differently or type something different, or does anybody have any questions? So far, you've been introduced to a shell script and how you can create a file, put a number of series of commands in it, and it will do those things for you at the same time once. And you can also, about variables and how to use a command to get output of the command and put it in the variable, and how to use what is in the variable. We are here, we are just echoing it. We're not using it for anything. We just want you to tell us what is in it. And we use it wisely to tell us that, hey, Bernard, this is your public IP, and the IP is this. Okay. Is that clear enough?
Yes, it's clear.
Happy days. Okay. So let's go further. Okay. Now here this is called hard coding. Hard coding. We have put Bernard there, and that means that this script will always, when run, say, "Hey Bernard, what if we want to actually allow the script to be run by anybody, and that person needs to tell the script what their name is." So if I want to tell the script what my name is at the beginning of the script, there's something you can do. And these are examples, are the flags. Okay. So when you run a command like this, ls, and then we put -a, what we're doing is we are passing information to the script, this program. We are passing information to this program and saying that, program, take this information and do something for me. We are telling the program that we are giving you information. Okay. And these are parameters. These are called flags, but it's a parameter that you are passing to the program. Okay, parameters. So we can also do our program in a way that when we run our program, we can add my name here as a parameter. And then the script will take that name and use it. But you have to configure the script in a way that it expects a parameter. Now, you can add multiple parameters. You can say today. Today, we can add more tomorrow. And we are not doing English here. So now what I want to understand is this is the first parameter, that is the second parameter, that is the third parameter. And we can go on and on and on and on and on. So in the script, what we have to do is we have to first create a variable that will hold what is going to be in the parameter. And the variable will be, let's say, parameter 1. We call it parameter 1. And we're going to say parameter 1 is equal to, yeah, so we're creating a variable to hold this information, right? And the way to do it is in shell script, in bash, there's a generic parameter that is already there, which is called $1. Okay, it's $1. Okay, let's go and see the usage of parameter $1 parameter. Okay, so let's go to Google and say how to add a parameter to a bash script. Okay, and here some people are also calling it arguments or options, and it's the same. Passing command line arguments to a bash script. You can click one, and here, as I said, the script and the argument. Okay. And as they say, in our bash script, there are several reserved predefined variables. So it's already there. This is what the program has been designed to do. Variables which can be used to recall the user predefined parameters. See, it's confusing. They're saying arguments, they're saying parameters. What's going on? But they are all the same. The first argument here, he says the first argument is stored in $1. The second will be $2, $3. So here, by default, $1 is what the guy is calling. He's just calling, he's not even putting it in a variable. So he's just using $1 is there. So in our script, we could just not even put it in a variable. We could just not even put it in a variable. We can just put $1 here. Okay. We can just put $1 here. So we say $1. Okay, so take what is in $1 and put it in this variable. We are creating a variable, or we can just say echo $1. $1. Yeah, we don't need to use the variable. We can actually comment this out and say we don't even need to use it. So that means that the script now, because there's a $1 here, expects that you pass a parameter or an argument when you run the script. If you don't do that, it will fail. So now it is expecting that when you run this, there should be a variable. If you don't do that, it will fail. Let's try it. It did okay, it didn't fail, but it didn't give you any, it's empty. It's empty. I think maybe when we run it, yeah, okay, it's empty. But if I put Bernard there, space Bernard, the script will take that information and use it. Say, hey Bernard, this is your public IP. Okay. I can actually do another one and say I'm expecting another variable $2. $2. Yeah. So $2 will be the next one after Bernard. And I can actually save this and say, hey Bernard, this is your today. Yeah, today. And I enter, and it says it takes the parameter, second parameter, and put it at the end of the echo. And the first parameter, put it at here in the echo message. Okay. So I just want you to understand that you can actually pass more information to your script using these predefined variables. And it goes like that. The first one will be $1, the first two will be $2, the first three will be and stuff. So today what we've done is we learned how to run a command and put it in a variable. We've also learned about these predefined variables where it takes whatever you put into when you're running the script. And we know about echo, we know about all this. So this is doing that. Now, how can we then use this knowledge to then go and create a user? Create a user. Okay. So before, when we want to create a user, we just create a user, don't we? So let's create a user in this machine. Okay. And the command to create a user is here. Actually here, isn't it? We can also check the password. We can run any command we want in this. Okay. But we're going to create the upon user. We're going to create the upon user. Okay. In here. But what we're going to do is we are going to tell the system that the username we want to create, we want to collect it from there. Okay. So we say, I want to create the user and I want the name to be the name that we pass in the file. Okay. So if I run this, it will go and create that user. Okay. So I just need to put my name, the name of the user here upon, and it will create the user and also echo and tell me the password, the IP address. So actually says user already exists. So it did try to create the user. It got an error and it says user already exists. So it's not going to create it again. Okay. So I can actually create another. Let's see if I can create upon one. Yeah. It has created upon one already exists. What's going on? User add user upon one already exists. So what's going on? Let me see. Cut. Let's see. Password. Okay, so it did create the user, but then it says already exists. That means it tried to create it twice or something. What's going on? Pseudo user add. It tried to it tried to create it 2 times. Aha. You see, a simple copy and paste mistake. So I will comment out this one. Comment out this one and save. So it tried to create it 2 times. Tried to create it here and it tried to create it again here. So one of them will give an error because the first one created it and the second one cannot create the same user again. Okay. So any questions so far? Okay, doke. Now, what I'm going to also introduce you to is a list. A list. Who knows what a list is? So this is a list. A, B, C. These are all lists. This is a list. So give me the list of the names of the in your class. You do this. Okay, class person 1, Bernard or Ben. Person 2. You can actually do person 1. Person 2 is Kofi. Person 3 is, you get my point. So let's all learn about lists. Okay. What is a list in Bash? A list is a sequence of one or more pipelines precipitated. No. This is not what I'm talking about. Yeah. No, what is a list? In programming. In computer science, a list of a sequence, an abstract data type that represents a finite number of ordered values where the same value may occur once or time. They make it too complicated. Just show us a list. Look at how this person is being confused. Yeah, this is it. Look, that's a list. Okay. List and in Bash is called arrays. A list is a sequence of several variables grouped together under a single name. So, like I said, names of persons in the classroom. We create a list. Abdullah, Chris, Paul, Anthony, Alphonse, John Luke. That's a list of people in this group now. So I really want you to go and learn about lists. Yeah. So we can create another variable that will hold all of those names. Okay. Can create another variable that will hold all of those names. So let's say I want to create 10 users. I can actually create another variable and put all 10 users in it. Okay. So in my script, I can actually do a list called users. Yeah. It's equal to, and to create a list, you need to put it in square brackets. As you can see here, let's put it in square brackets. And I should have actually shown you data types before I started, but these are some of the things I want you to go and learn. So data type. So any value that is in quotes is a string. If it's not in quotes, maybe we also have a number, a boolean, all of those things. So we will learn data types later. But for now, just look at it as, if we want it to look like a text, a string, we just put it in quotes. Okay. So I'm going to create a list. single quotes and say upon 2, upon underscore 2, and you have to do it with a comma. So in a list, after each list, there's a comma. Comma upon underscore 3, comma upon underscore 4. These are the names in the list. So the same way you can echo what is in the list. Yeah, you can echo what is in the list, and it's literally now echo what is in the list. Echo. I can put it just dollar users. Yeah. I don't want to get the public IP again. Okay, I don't want to create the user again. So I'll comment it out. I don't want to create the user. I just want to do this. Okay. Now, when I save this and run, it will give me everything in this list here. Yeah. So let's run this. Clear. When we run the command, the file again, this time around, we're not giving it anything. Users example. Okay, so one other thing that I'm going to introduce you to is you can also not use any variable name that is a program. So you can't put cat here. You can't put cat here, cat as a name. You can't put I can't put a PWD as a name. It's a program. So you can't create a variable that the name resembles a program. So users cannot be used. So I can let's say users underscore list. That's not okay. And then I will say user list instead. Okay, and save this. Oh, come on. The equal has to be really close to it. Save. It has to be next to it. What I was saying. Clear. Oh my days. This is Python. Oh my days. It's actually so we're using Python syntax. It's been a while since I've done these things. Anyway, you get the gist now. It's good that we make mistakes. We were using Python syntax. And unfortunately, it's going to be not square brackets. Not square brackets. So yeah, it's not square brackets. Let's save it and see. Okay. But it only gave us one in the list. It didn't give us all of it. It gave us one. Okay. It gave us the first one. It didn't give it everything in the list when we echoed list. Okay. Now, this is where you then there's something called elements in the list. Elements in the list, okay? This is element 1, element 0, actually. In programming, everything starts from 0. So we don't, when we are counting elements, we count element 0, element 1, element 3. Yeah. So this is element 0, element 1, element 3. Okay. So if I want all elements, I have to put a square bracket to say at all the elements. I think from now I will have to stop and then we can practice. So this is all elements. I want everything in the list, all elements in the array, okay? All elements. If I want the first one, I'll just put 0. I just want the first one. Echo just the first one. If I want the second one, I'll put 1. If I want the third one, I'll put 2. Because it's 0, 1, 2. So let's try all first. So we do all, and then we echo again, copy. We echo again the 0th one. We echo again the second one, and then we echo again the last one. Yeah, save. So I said, tell me everything in the list, and give me just the first one, the second one, and the third one. Confusing, it starts from 0. So you need to know all of that. Good luck, guys. Your money. See, it didn't actually work for some reason. It didn't actually work. Let me see.
But I think it's because we have commas between the list, isn't it?
Yeah, because here it doesn't have commas, but let's see. Yeah, because we're using the Python.
Yeah, we're using the Python syntax.
Let's save and run it and see. Still. But upon 2, what's going on here? What am I doing wrong? Anyway, let's go to our friend. Do it for us. I'm not very. This is what I don't want. So it actually going through the list one by one, and it's going to echo it one by one. So I didn't want to take you straight to loops, but it seems we'll have to loop it. Alternative, a similar way is to echo all. Yeah, this is all I want. So this is how you create it. Yeah, but this is how you get it out. Okay, so it is actually this, not the first one. Okay, let's see. So it's actually this instead. Yeah. let's see again. And then if we want the first one, let's just comment all of this out. When you control /, it will comment all of it together in a block. Yeah. Control / will then remove the comment. Control / will comment it all, and I save it. So let's try again. Exactly. Okay. So it's how we were calling the variable that was a problem. So this one, it put it in inverted commas, dollar and curly brackets. That's the problem we're having. Okay. So let's get the first one. And instead of @ the @ represent all. Instead of @ we just want 0, the 0 to 1. Yeah. See, it gives us the first one. Okay. And if we do the same and say the second one, which is number 1, and then the third one, which is number 2, yeah, we save, and then it will just give us each one. See, it lists all of it, and then it gives us the first one, the second one, the third one. Okay. So why am I doing this? We want to use the user. We want to create 3 users at the same time. So in the command to create a user, we will then do it 3 times. Okay. And then say at the first instance, you create it for this user. The second instance, create it for that user. And the third instance, create it for this user. This is where loops come in. Loop. Who knows a fountain? Who's seen a fountain before? Everybody's seen a fountain before. The water is the same water that goes round and round and round. It's looping through. Okay. So when we do loops, it's like we want to run the command, one command 3 times. We can tell it how many times you want to run one command. Okay. So the command to create a user, want to run it as many times as the number in the list. Okay. So we will run first one, and then it will take the first name and create the user, and then we'll run it again. It will take the second name and create the user. We'll run it again, and it will take the third name and create a user. So we are looping through. We're going to do a loop through the list. So when the list is complete, we want to stop the loop. So we are using the loop, the script, the list in the loop, in the number of names in the list to count how many times we want to create the user. You getting it? Yeah. So, and this is where loop is coming through. So here I can tell Gemini, I'm not very good at scripting, but I know this is what I'm talking about. Knowing what you want and doing it, and you can even do it better. So I can tell Gemini and say, hey, okay, can you loop through the list and use this command to create a user for each element in the list. So I just go and copy the command. I don't want it to just go and do its own command. Elements. Yeah. So it will just give me a bash script that will do a loop. And this is a simple, a simple loop. So for loop is called for loop, for upon, in, upon, do. And it's obviously going to do an echo and tell you that, oh, I'm creating a user for this person. And it says if sudo is actually checking if the user already exists. We didn't tell it to do that, but I was going to do if later, but it's actually checking if the user exists first. I didn't tell it to do this, but I'll just remove it. I don't want to confuse it for now. So I remove this and just run the command. The core command with error handling. So I didn't say do error handling, Masa. Creating the user. If, then, no, I'm not going to do that. All right. All I wanted was this, the for loop. Okay. So now remember, for opponent in opponent, this is a variable. We are creating a variable that at each time of the iteration of the loop, the value will be put there. Okay. So we create a variable here. This is a new variable, and we're going to go through the list. And the first item in the list, we'll put it here. Okay. The way they do this is something like this. They create the opponents, and they say for opponent, for the first opponent in the opponent's variable, do this, do something. Okay. And when you finish as in done. I'm not doing if then else. So I'll just copy this. Don't want to confuse too much. Let's just paste it here. And then comment this out, save. I'm also going to remove all of this. Don't want to do any checks. It's good to check if the user already exists, but today we are not doing any checks. Okay, so all we want to do is do a loop, and this is the loop. To start a loop is for opponent. He created this is naming convention. He created the variable and called it opponents, saying it's a list. There's a lot more people in that list. For each opponent, so take the first one and put it in this variable. So basically go into the opponents, take the first one and put it in this variable, and then tell me that you're going to create the user for this one. So now he's calling this variable. Remember, the variable that he will put one of it in this variable. You take one and put it in this variable, and then he will use it here. Remember, the difference is the S. The variable, two variables were created. First variable holds everything. First variable holds everything. And then they create another variable here that will hold each one at each iteration. So the first iteration, it will hold upon 1. At the second iteration, this same variable will hold upon 2. At the third iteration, the same variable will hold upon 3. So when we go one round, this will be the variable, the value in opponent. When we go the second round, the value in opponent will be this. At the third round, the value in opponent will be upon 3. So don't get confused. This is just a variable. So in the for loop, you go for, you create a variable, and in for everything in this list, do this. I'll echo, I'm going to create it, and then create it. This command is just a command we already know, but we are just going to pass the first person in it. Okay. Now, when he's doing it, because it's counting the number of, so here is a number. Okay, for how many times we want to do it is the number in this. So how many times we want to go around is that we want to go around 3 times. So it will count the number of elements in the list and it will use it as the number of times it's going to go through the iteration. Okay, so for first person in the list, which is 3, do this. You are only finished, the loop only finishes if there's no more, there's at the last one. So when you finish the iteration, counting with the how many the number of elements in the list, finish. And that's what the done is for. I'm done. Okay. You can make a mistake and you can be in a loop. You will never come out. So you have to cancel the script. Or you can just get stuck in a loop. If you don't do this correctly, you can actually get stuck in a loop and it will be infinite loop, which can break your laptop, your system. Okay. So do you understand? Anybody wants to ask any question? It's confusing, but as soon as you grasp the question, the concept of a for loop, okay, this is a for loop. They have different types of loops. There's a while loop, a for loop, different type. But today we're doing the for loop. Okay, so we're going to create 3 users, and we're going to use a for loop to create 3 users. This is the command. We're going to iterate through the list. At each time, we'll create 1 user. The second time, we create another user. Third time, we create another user. So in a nutshell, if you already have this script and it works for you, that creates a user. Remember, down here can be any command, but you want to do it for more things. Okay, it can be any command, but this time around, we're just going to use it to create a command. We all know this command, and it takes the username and then go and create the user. Today, we're just going to use it in a script. So when we run this script, of course, upon 1 is already created. We all already know that. Upon 2 is already created. We already know that, I think. But upon 3, let me check. Cut Etsy password. So we have upon 1. So we might get an error saying that upon 1 is already there. Will the script fail or continue? It's something we can find out as well. Sometimes it will fail and say at the first iteration, it finds that upon 1 is already there, it will fail. But sometimes it will not fail, it will continue and say upon 1 is already there, but I'm doing upon 2 and upon 3. Gemini, on the other hand, did error handling. So if you go and you find that the user is already there, just say that failed to create a user, check for errors if exist. Okay, but we'll do if then else later. So we're going to run the script. Are you are you having Abdullah?
It's a lot of fun, but
Anthony, guys, say something. Is it fun?
Yes.
Now, this is why I told you at the beginning that research. When you get, if you know what you're looking for, you can then take your time, because when you generate a script, at the moment, but when I was starting, there was no Gemini. It was Google. But you know, how do I do this? You try, and then by the time you realize you've already written a script. Look, in my time, let me share you something. In my time, I've written a lot of scripts, okay? But I still struggle. The thing is, when they give you the task, they're not going to expect you to finish now. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So for me, in my laptop, I have one folder called DevOps Tools. And each tool that I have used, like if you go to Docker, I have a folder for it. And in that folder, I have my useful commands. I put all the things I've done before, I put it in each folder that I have, even at my level. Okay, I go back. You see, I've got folder for Linux admin, and I've got useful commands. Everything that I've done, I put a file and I put it here. Look, user creation. If I found a link that worked for me, I'll put the link in this file. Okay. For scripts, I've done a couple of scripts. In AWS, I had to do a script. Okay. Some of them are Boto, which is Python scripts. Some of them are CLI. Okay. Some of them are shell scripts. Okay. Here, this is one shell script that will go to AWS. And as you can see, there's a for loop there. It will go to AWS and go and check some things and stuff. The point I'm trying to make here is you are not going to be a guru. Well, you can't be a guru. No, even Jose, my friend, who knows a lot, still uses Google sometimes. He knows a lot about programming, still researches sometimes. So it's all about knowing what the availability of the tool, that a script, in the script you can do arrays, you can do this, you can do this. That's all I need to teach you about what a variable is, what all those basics. And then from there, it's up to you to go and do the magic. Okay, so we are going to not handle errors because it's an if then else statement, which we are not doing today. All I want you to do is we will have a script that can create multiple users for us. We can actually do more. The user checking, if the user says, when it gets to checking, we'll do checking, because sometimes you have to check if this is there, then do this. If this is not there, then do this. That's if Kwame is coming to Accra, then Kofi should go to Kumasi. Else Kofi should go to sleep. If then else. Okay. So let's run this and see if it will go and create the two more users, because we know that upon 1 is already created, upon 2 is not, upon 3 is not. Okay, so let's see. So instead of actually doing the job one by one, you have a script. And sometimes a script, I've told you, can actually take parameters. And some of the parameters will be a file that contains the list. So maybe you're creating for 200 people. It will be a file that contains the list. Okay. So let's run this command. Boom. It did it. So it went at the first iteration. It said I'm creating for open 1. And then we got an error saying user already exists. So it failed to create the user, check for errors or existing user, because we didn't do any error handling. And then it went on. It didn't stop. It went and did the second user. And it said that user was created successfully. And it then went on and did the third user. And that one was also created successfully. So now if I go to cat etc password, I'll see all my 3 users. Boom, boom, boom. Is that not magic? So your
Very interesting.
Isn't it? Your best way is to learn bash scripting. Now, I really want you to stay with the basics for now. Don't confuse yourself. You can get locked into it. It's literally a lot. But I want you to know the basics. So what is a list? How to create a list? What is a list? The elements in a list. How to echo the list. You can actually do a lot with list. There's adding more information to the list. I can actually increase the list. I can say upon 4 in dynamically. I can actually create the list as well. I can do a loop that will create me the list as well. So instead of actually hard coding the list here, I can actually do a loop that will create the list and say, okay, do a loop and create a list for me. What the first one will be, and I want you to do it for 4 times. The first one will be upon 1, upon 2, upon 3. I can do that. But this time around, I'm just adding the list here. What if I had it in a file and I want to pass a list in a file? All you have to do is to go. At the moment, I love Gemini and ChatGPT. AI tools are there. You could actually go to Google. It takes a long time to get there in Google because when you search, there's a lot of information. Okay, here in this, I'll share this link. Actually, it's actually a good link. I'll put it in the WhatsApp group if you want to do more. But we'll be using scripts to then perform our tasks going forward. Okay, two things we've done. We created an application, and then we are also creating users. Okay, so we'll be using scripts to practice those things. People are probably saying, Charlie, this thing, am I actually going to be able to do it? This DevOps thing. But never, ever give up. Okay, never, ever give up. I'm probably making it too serious. Never give up. I did it in bits. I told you that you can run a command, you can recreate a user. I did it the hard way. Now you're taking a list and putting it in a loop and going around the loop and creating the users. Don't get confused, okay? So this is it. Now, what did we do with the user? Well, after creating the user, we also created SSH folder, didn't we? We also created an SSH folder. We also created an SSH key. All of that can be done in a list. Okay. Now, there's a list, different type of list, which is a list within a list, or we call it. Remember the syntax, guys. There's syntaxed. Okay. Forget about this bash bang, being bash at the top, but there's a way you go around writing programs, and as you can see here, there's a syntax. The for, everything in the for loop has been indented. Everything in the if has been indented. Okay. Bash doesn't mind, but Python minds a lot. If the indentation is not done properly, Python will cry and cry a lot. You have to be exactly the same. There's so many programming languages like Go, even Jenkins. When we get there, you see that it's scripting. All of it is scripting. Okay. So you need to learn a lot more about scripting, and the best thing is learn about lists. And if we ask Gemini to teach us what scripting is, so let's the same way we did with it will just generate a way to do it. Okay. So he's no, teach me how to do it. Okay. How to save a file, how to make it executable. Aha. So look, save the code and teaching points. Shebang is teaching you what Shebang is. Comment, how to comment, making executable, the loops. There's a for loop, there's a case, make their commands, expansion idea for error handling, command line arguments. Today we did command line arguments. So what have we done today? And this is what simply one script teaching you a lot of things. I told you about Shebans. Tell the system to use bash to run the script. Okay, I said I will leave it. Okay, comments. We talked about comments today. We talked about variables, stores the data in the case, the file extension. variables. We talked about loops. We've done a loop today. And there's conditionals. Make decisions based on file types. So there's a case condition and the commands itself that you run. So in this, our simple script, we have touched on everything except conditionals. Okay. And expanding the idea, we've got error handling, which I want to talk to you about. And command line arguments. We've talked about command line arguments today, where you have to pass arguments to the script. We did that, and so on and so forth. Okay. And this is all in a simple list. But today he's added case to it. There's no if yet. Okay. But I just want you to know that you can actually use a script to perform all your tasks. We will be doing that. We'll be using scripts for most of our things, and it will introduce you a lot to things in scripts that we have to do. Okay, so everything we have done so far, we will be scripting it. So what did we do? We used our system. We deployed an application, didn't we, in an EC2, but we had to go in there and do it one by one. Every time we go into the machine, we have to go in there and install Nginx, install this and do this and do. What if we had a script that whenever we create an EC2, we run that script and the application will come online? It will go to GitHub, get our code, bring it. What if we have a script? We also created users, and a lot of users we had to create. What if we had a script that whenever a new user joins, we run the script. It will take his public key and his public key. So we tell the user, master, can you give us your public key? How the person will get us the public key, they'll find it. And as soon as they get the public key, they give it to us. We run a script. It goes into the system and creates the user, allowing him or her to log in. Okay, these are the two things we'll be doing. I think this is a bit too much, so I want you to go and rest. Don't go and confuse yourself and watch too many videos. Watch some, but always put basics in the search. I want to know all the basics of a shell scripting. Okay, basics, and then read them one by one. Everything is something that you have to read one by one. So here, you can just go to read about shebang. Okay, it's called shebang. Read about comments, variables, loops, and lists. I didn't even add list here. I don't like Gemini. Okay, so go and learn how to declare a variable and so on and so on. I think this here is really nice. I think how to use piping and redirection. This is a Linux. Okay. Practice out the regular expressions. Not scripting to enhance your productivity. Boom. This guy is good. And he's going to introduce you to a lot. There's a video as well. It starts with the shebang, and then it's so on and so forth. So yeah, any questions? We will do those two things, okay? And I will explain whatever is going on. We will be checking. How can you check if a user already exists? Is there a command to check if a user already exists? Yeah, there is. And someone did a script. So they're using grep. We know about grep. And they are going through the password and going to check if that user is in that file. That's it. Okay. Now, this is what this guy is doing. But what you wanted to do is, I want to check. So you can do an if statement and say, check if the person is there, and if it's there, it's true. If this is true, then don't create that user. Go to the next line. Go and create the next user. And probably echo and tell me that, oh, this user already exists. So I'm going to create the next one. There's so many ways. This guy is also doing this, and it's doing an if. Yeah, this one is actually doing an if, just to check. And if he finds that the user exists, it tells you something. But good thing is they are all going into this file to go and find information. So if we grep user this file, what happens? So I can then go here and I'll say grep upon one and then the file name. This is what they're doing. What happens if you run this on its own? And they made sure that they put this in a variable. Okay? They put that in a variable. What happens? What happened when I ran it? Yeah, it gave me this. Okay. So one thing is there's something called whether it's true or not. So here, if not, bang is not. If nothing came out of this command, if something came out of this command, so if I run for, this is how if I run for upon 4, what will happen? Upon 4, what will happen? Upon 4, I know it's not there. There was no output. It didn't give me anything. So what they are doing is, if this command returns nothing, then create a new user. If it returns something, then say, oh, the user already exists. That's all. You see, the command returned something. That means the user is there. If it returned nothing, then the user is not there. That's all. So let's leave it here. I don't want this to scare anybody, please, guys. It's not hard. We have tools to help you, and it only comes with experience. When you do more, we're going to do more. We're going to give you tasks to go and write a script. You fail. When you come back, we all learn. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Right. Today there's no assignment. Your assignment is to clean up your AWS and make sure you're not paying any money. Check your billing, guys. Check your billing. Look at mine. So in this AWS account, if I go to billing, cost and billing, am I paying anything? This user doesn't seem to have access to billing. Why? That's admin access. All right, I know what's going on. I need to use this account as the payer account to find. But you can just type billing and go and check your billing. Okay, so currently for me, I'm currently paying $21 a month because I have other things there. And I'm okay with it for now. So you need to check this and make sure that you're not paying anything. But for I have 2 accounts. One of them is just costing me this, which I know why. I can go and delete it. I'm going to work on it. But the one, where is the test one? Is it not here? Ooh, okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Thank you.
If you need
Thank
me,
you.
you can call me on the side as well. Jean-Luc, did you have fun? You know about scripting. You've been writing scripts and all along, Jean-Luc, isn't it?
Try to follow and try to do more for